Yo, what is up, everybody? I'm Unknown. I'm going to basically be teaching you today the basics of mixing. I make music myself. If you want to check out my music, it's on all platforms. I will put the name right here, and I'll also put a link in the description to my link tree. I will have all my music and stuff like that. Merch store is coming up soon, but I'm not going to stall you guys too long. Let's get right into this, and we're going to hop into everything that you're going to want to need to know. Alright, so when you hop into FL Studio, it's going to look something like this. There's not really, much, and I'm going to do a video where it's kind of like learning the basics of FL, but this is a video about mixing, okay? So, assuming that you already know everything, I'm just going to click this right here. This pulls up, all of your presets pretty much. Now, I'd start by going on insert 1, and I don't know, say we're just trying to do this for vocals. You should be able to hear me on here. Alright, so basically what we're gonna do is this is a brand new track. In slot 1, when it goes down the slots, basically what it's doing is in each slot, it's like they're set up to it registers that slot. So, for example, on slot 1, you're probably going to want to put something like your auto-tune. For example, I have auto-tune artist. So, when you are, using auto-tune, obviously it's going to do the auto-tune effect thing, your retune speed for auto-tune, any kind of auto-tune. Your retune speed is how much. Less retune speed is the more auto-tune that's going to be on it. So, for example, if I have it in, E flat and major key, I have this at 0, so that's like the max auto-tune pretty much. Alright. So, I usually put mine to about 2, and then more melodic songs I put mine to 4. That's just how I like it. Flex tune. How I think of it, it's just how, I guess, how much it lets the vocals, deviate, how it says right there. Increase flex tune to allow more pitch deviation, usually for expressive purposes. When you are expressing a vocal, like say you're going like a little bit higher than the key that you're in, it pretty much, if you turn this up, I put mine to about 15, it won't catch it as much, and it will correct that pitch even if it's like a little bit up. Like, you have to make it good though, is how I like to think of it. I usually don't mess with the natural vibrato, but it's pretty much gives like vibration in your voice. But you can make it higher or lower. So like it's a vibration in the auto-tune. Now, humanize is whenever you're holding a note, if it like tries to correct it or not. So I usually put mine at about 20, and basically it, like, if you're holding a note, like say you're like, when you're holding that note, if you just the humanize basically tells it not to correct it if you're holding the same note consistently. Tracking, how long it lets it go before it catches it. So if you put it up to 100, that's max tracking, so it's going to catch it every second. If you turn it down to 0, it's not going to track it at all. Keep it at the, whatever. Detune is like, just changing the key the tiniest bit. Don't worry about really anything else. Alright, so next, you're going to want to have it reading in order. So first, I like to put the auto-tune over mine. And then I'd probably go with something to cut out background noise, so the vocals sound more crisp and they're not horrible. This is a free one that I'm just going to be using for the example of this video. Alright. And basically, the threshold is, how much blockage is going to be on there. So, like, if I just, like, I know, it's kind of, like, gross, but you can hear that it picks it up. Alright, it picks up like mouth sounds and like, obviously the popper will help that, but this will also help this. I like to put it on dual mono, just makes it more clear. The threshold is how much it will let the sound go through. This is going to vary, your mic, like, what mic you have. And also your room, it's gonna vary across that too. All right. So after you have the threshold, this is what it is for my mic. Uh, it's gonna be different for yours though, so I wouldn't suggest copying it. Attack. Basically, it's whenever it reaches that threshold, how hard it will attack it, and how fast, how much. Okay. So you're gonna want to find that for yourself also. I'm gonna find that for myself real quick. So I did my attack and decay, and basically what decay is after it attacks that, how long does it take to decay and how much. So say you're saying something like, I was in the back, they know it's running up. Like basically, it's how, like, whenever you finish that vocal, how hard it cuts it off. Okay, so coming in is attack. How hard is it going to cut it in? And then decay is how hard is it going to cut it out. So now that we have all that figured out, we're going to want to go to the thing that people struggle with the most, EQ. So if you're on FL Studio, you're going to want the Fruity Parametric EQ2. Okay. So what I like to do with my EQ is I like to make kind of a mountain range. If we're just going to do default, and I mean, you can really EQ the way you want. But what I do suggest is that you do not put like 1 over here and 7 way back here and 5 up and 4 up and 3 up and 2 up. It's just going to sound horrible. You hear how like horrible I sound right now? All right. So, what we're going to do is, you're pretty much going to make a mountain range in whatever sounds good to you. Okay, this one is going to need to, these knobs right here are how hard it pretty much cuts it off. So, say for example, we got 4 right here, okay? That's yellow. You see how slim that is? If we turn it back up, it's not slim, but whatever. Now, a lot of people struggle with EQ, but once you start to learn, I guess you could call it EQ theory. Such a cornball way to say it, but that's pretty much what it is. Um, you know, I suggest making it something like this. Make it something like this, and then basically what you're gonna do is, say it's still, right here, and this is your EQ right now. Okay, it's like a mountain range, and basically, whenever you're recording vocals and like you're going to find out where those gross frequencies are. Okay, and how I do that is I turn these all the way, like one of them all the way down, so that it's just slim, and then it goes all the way up, and you hear how like it sounds like I'm a tin can. You'd keep it at that thing. I turn it down over here and just have that a little bit below so it's not peaking. I do the same thing for this one. Not really like gross, so I just keep it at like, the same thing. There are You're really gonna have to mess around with it and find your sound. You can do EQing how you like. It's really up to you. I like to just go across until I find like a weird, like right there. I just turn this down to where I don't have that anymore. And it's a really strange process, but you're basically going to want to find where it peaks and just set it up to how it sounds to your liking, and then you're going to want to go through all of them and find where it peaks. So for example, I don't know, this is my liking, and the only places where I found it peaked were right there. The 7's okay. Yeah, 7's okay. All right, cool. So we have that. So these are the 3 main things you're going to want on your vocals. Let me turn the auto tune off because so these are the 3 main things you're going to want for your vocals. Auto tune, unless that's like your style not doing auto tune. you're going to want something to cut out background noise and an EQ to spice things up. Now, everything from here on is just teaching you the different things you can do with mixing. So let's go to that. Now, if you do want to compress your vocals, I do think it is a good idea. I will never knock anybody for, wanting to compress their vocals because I do it myself. Okay, like it's actually a lot of people say it's required. It is not required, but it definitely sounds a lot better. So, if you do want to compress your vocals and you're on FL Studio, there is a Fruity compressor, I believe it is. Yes, Fruity compressor. Now we got that, and we got the Fruity multi-band compressor, and I'll just show you what both of them look like. Okay. If you're doing just vocals, I suggest just using the Fruity compressor. But I just wanted to show you what both, because this is for, I believe, don't hate on me if I'm wrong. I believe this is for bands. I believe this is for like if multiple vocals or multiple guitars are coming in or something like that. It can take multiple bandwidths. All right, same thing with how it was with the silencer. Threshold, how much until it gets to that point and does compress it. Attack, same thing. Release is the same thing as decay. Gain is how loud it is. If I turn this up, I'm going to be louder. All right. So, me personally, I need this to about 8. Like on my personal thing. You guys can hear me a lot better now. It's great. Whatever. All right, we're gonna put this to about -25.3. All right. I think this is a good threshold. Nothing's popping, nothing's cracking. We're good. You just want to keep just turning it slightly up, slightly down. Another mixing tip I suggest doing is we're just going to put on insert 1 and we're just going to say something random, just talk around a little bit, even sing. Just do that and pretty much set that on a loop. You do that by holding right click and dragging. Gonna say something random. And what's gonna happen is as you mess with the preset, it's going to change too. So you'll hear it. Gonna say something random, just talk around a little bit. Gonna say something random, just talk around a little bit. Gonna so you see how that all, changes on the spot. So you can do that and use that as a reference. All right, I did my compressor to how I think it fits me. You're gonna have to do that yourself. Just playing around with it and everything. But this is how I did mine. Also, if you guys like this preset, I will put it in the description. The one thing that you won't be able to have that's not on FL is this FKator silencer. You can download it if you just look it up. It's on every site. It's free. But if not, just use FL Studio's silencer, and it's going to be called something else. But you're going to have to do your own silencing anyway, so it shouldn't be a problem. All right. So next step, if you want a compressor, realistically, everything from here on out is just adding spice to the vocals on how you like it. There are different things like filters. If we go into, there's controller, there's delay, there's reverb, there's distortion, dynamics, filters, which is a Fruity Love filter, flanger, there's gain, all this stuff. There's all this stuff that you can do, and we're going to just explore them, and, we're going to make a preset out of it. So, on all my presets, I like to add a sound goodizer. Okay, this thing makes things a lot more clear, as you can hear already. So, what you're going to do is you're going to pretty much go through these keys and find the one that fits you best. For example, I like either D or B, but I used to use A lot when I'm starting out. So for higher ranges, like higher range vocals, I suggest A or C and then mix it into there so it sounds good because right now it sounds kind of crappy. I'd turn it down to about there, maybe. Um, but for this demonstration, we're gonna use B. I mean, because why not? Uh, and then yeah, we'll use B. We use B. So that's one thing you can add. You can add stuff like I think we need some reverb. So we're going to find fruity reverb. All right. Put this one up. All right. This is a free one. This is on FL Studio when you buy it. So they got different presets. If we go through here, we got cathedral, we got default, we have drum room, we have large hall, we have small studio. All right. So just for this, we're going to use one of the presets and we're going to, customize it. We're going to use drum room. I like drum room. Drum room sounds cool. You can add if it's to the mid or if it's to kind of like the side, middle or side of you pretty much. We're going to use side. We'll use middle. Delay. I'm not going to turn on any delay because we're actually going to add delay also. But you could add delay if you wanted to. This delay on the reverb just kind of sucks though. Okay, how wet it is, it's pretty self-explanatory. You can hear it change. How dry it is, that's pretty much loudness in a way, but it's like the dryness of the vocals. It's pretty self-explanatory. Like you hear, and then the speed of it is pretty much how fast the reverb catches up to you. Or my fault, delay is how fast it catches up to you. All right, we got dampness again. This just adds a little bit of extra spice onto it. We're gonna turn that to about half. How much bass? It pretty much puts bass in your vocals. Turn that to about there. Mod depth, right there. Size. Okay, max is like cathedral. It's the size of your vocals. Like, it's the size of the reverb. The size is pretty much going to be how much or how little on spacey is the way I explain it to people. So, we're just going to put it to, I'm going to put it to about half. Okay, high cut, it's pretty much, same thing with EQ, how the higher side is the high cut of it, and the lower side is the low cut of it. It's pretty much highs and lows, again, with reverb. So, we're going to put our low cut to about here. We're going to put our high cut to about here. Low cut even lower than that, actually. There you go. All right, cool. We got a nice little reverb going. I don't mind it. It sounds pretty cool. Now we're going to get some delay. It's all right here. It gives you what you pretty much need right here. Delay reverb. Fruity delay. We're actually going to turn this off, so I'm going to show you the difference between 2 and 3. So, delay 3 has a ton more options, but I like the simplicity of 2. For this demonstration, we're going to use 2 because if I was using just a bunch of free presets again, this is what I would be using. So, we have delay 2, and we're going to turn this on. Just like before we have a bunch of presets. So we have the stereo effect. So I can't hear myself really in the mic. It's just really like to be honest, like that stereo effect. You don't really hear yourself. It's just kind of the delay speaking, which is weird. Now we got a widen 1, widen 1, wide and one. Like it's all there's inverted, there's normal, there's ping pong. Normal is a normal amount of is a normal version of delay. Invert is it goes kind of reverse almost. Ping pong, it goes left, right, left, right, left, right. It ping pongs off each other pretty much like just think of it like it's in your head and it's going to one side of the headphone and bouncing off the speaker and going to the other one. That's pretty much what it is. So we're going to use that. We're going to use ping pong. So pan is how much it pans, and if it goes to the right or if it goes to the left. You know, if it's going to go, you know, from the middle to the right or the middle to the left, how much of which, and you know, whatever. Volume of yourself pretty much, but also the delay. So we're going to put the delay to about here, and this is feedback is volume of it going out. Now that sounds pretty gross, so we're just going, I like to just keep it at how it comes. Cut, same thing with like that whole decay thing. Now, time. This is the main thing you're going to want to mess with, okay? When you say something, when does it repeat? Do you want it to be immediately, or do you want it to go after and delay for a long time? The less you have, the closer it is to your actual vocals, and the farther away that you have the time is it's going to say it farther away, and then it's going to repeat for longer. It's a really weird thing, but once you wrap your head around it, you got it. So, for example, if I turn it right here, it's going to be close to my vocals, and then it stops. But if I put it way over here, it's going to be, a long time. You see how long that takes. So, I like to have my delay close to me unless I'm doing a special effect on a song. So we got that. And we're just going to actually turn that off for now, just so we can, you know, do the rest of it, you know, easiest. Dry. We've been over that. We have reverb, we have delay, we have a sound equalizer, we have a compressor, we have an EQ, we have a silencer. This is like the main setup that a lot of people run, and then the next 3 slots, you know, they have everything, just whatever they want. So, we're going to find some things to do now. All right, so what I do suggesting, my own personal mixing tip, is I suggest going in slot 10 and putting a fruity soft clipper. Now, when you speak above a certain decibel, you see how that goes really high. If that reaches that, it pretty much distorts it or even just cuts out your vocal completely. It's like crap. So, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to, like, you know, pretty much sing how you would. Every day I wake up, she fixing her makeup, wishing it would reshape us, but it'd break us. Emotions creeping up, yeah, girl, I keep it tucked, yeah, paranoia in the air. All these girls sit back, they stop and stare, yeah, paranoia in the air. All these girls sit back, they stop and stare. Now what I suggest doing is I suggest singing the highest you would be singing, okay? So for example, baby, you don't love me. Baby, you don't love me. Baby, you don't trust me. Paranoia's always in the air. Baby, you don't love me. Baby, you don't love me. So that has potential for peaking. So what you're going to want to do is as that plays, mess with the threshold, and that's pretty much how far it goes down, or how far it curves, my fault. And then post is how far it even starts to begin with. There, baby, you don't love me. Baby, you don't love me. Baby, you don't trust me. Paranoia's always in the air. Baby, you don't love me. So, it's not, you know, cutting down the vocals to where there's crappy gain, but it's also not peaking. So we have that now. That's out of the way. Put that on slot 10. If you do decide to do that, you can get away without doing it, but if it does peak, gotta re-record, my boy. That's all there is to it. All right, slot 8. So, we could do something like, we could do a filter. Do a filter. Why not? All right, we'll just do, all right. We have, you know, just, this hurts my ears. That hurt my ears. This is just a cool little effect. I like this a lot. This sounds cool. Da 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 da. Glitchy things in here, and there's a lot of things that you can use. So simple high pass is a really cool one. I like it. I think it sounds cool. We'll keep this. We'll keep this. All right, we got our Fruity Love filter mixed in with our delay. You can never mix with a chorus. Fruity chorus. We'll fruity chorus. This is pretty much. The way I like to edit this is we're just going to put fat clean, and it pretty much just makes things like it just adds like a little bit of cleanness onto it. That's what I suggest doing. But do whatever floats your boat. So I want to do just a fat clean, and yeah, keep this. I want to turn the delay just a little bit down, like right there, to where it's closer to my vocals, and yeah, we got it. Now, that's it for the preset. If you want to do an EQ down here, I like to put this EQ at kind of like a bridge also. There you go. It's kind of like up and then going down. Just makes it sound a little bit cleaner. But you could also do the opposite, and you can have it right there. So this sounds cool also. You could have it like, you know, in the middle a little bit. The same thing with this. This, like, it literally, like, it can sound however you want it to. Alright, so I like this. I think this is cool. I think this is actually quite cool, yeah. Keep that right here, just kind of have a solid build up. Have it, you know, straight. Alright, cool. So, we're going to find us a beat and see how we mix on that. But before that, you can rename, we're just going to do a random color. This kind of sucks. There we go. Alright. Change icon. Alright, trumpet went up. And then rename video. Alright, we got Unknown's video preset. How you save it, you're going to right click on it, file, and save mixer track state as. After you save that, you got your thing. Let's find us a beat real quick. Alright, I found us a beat. We're pretty much just going to, you know, just look for a beat, whatever we find. Gutter type beat, you know, nice and plus gutter. Gutter type beats never misses. 2 Hollis type beats never miss. Stuff like that. I've out recently. Alright, so. Alright, I just threw an auto key real quick. We're gonna pretty much send this to our auto tune. Alright, I got everything set up with the auto tune and everything, and yeah. It tells you to detune anything. If you do end up throwing in an auto key, it's gonna be right here, right there. And yeah, let's just make a quick little song. Throw up, baby, you going up. Throw up, baby, you going up. Okay, baby, you been on my brain too much. Baby, So we got like a quick little song. I just did some random with it. So if we turn this off, this is how you turn all the effects off. All right, this is how it sounds without the vocals. Okay. Baby, you been up on my brain too much. Yeah, better throw up, baby, you going on. Okay, baby, you can barely hear it. All right. Now we're gonna turn this back down. That was at max volume, by the way. So. Okay. Baby, you been up on my brain too much. Yeah, better throw up, baby, you going on. Okay, baby, you been on my brain too much. Better love me till I fall. Yeah, lately I've been throwing up too much. Watch me pop off at the club, I rock off. Yeah, baby, you don't even really take your clothes off. Yeah, I just really wanna tie with that lockjaw. So, preset. If you want to change it up for, different songs, I feel like this needs, something with the chorus and the low filter, because it sounds very off-putting with this song. But I was just showing how it sounded with whatever. All right. So I'm gonna turn the delay off just so you can hear me more clearly, and the reverb. All right. So with mixing, okay, pretty much everything when you're mastering it is gonna be on the master. Okay. So for example, you could do things that lead off of this vocal that go into other inserts. But, I mean, some people do that, some people don't. Some people put their auto-tune on a separate tab and have it to all their other effects. I like to keep it all in one, whatever. But, for the mastering, you could do things like a limiter. Which, pretty much, it keeps it at a minimum, or it keeps it at a maximum. So, for example, okay, baby, you been up on my brain too much. Yeah, better throw up, baby, you going on. Okay, baby, you been on my brain too much. Better love me till I fall. Yeah, lately I've been throwing up too much. Watch me pop off. Yeah, lately I've been throwing up too much. Watch me pop off. At the club I rock off. Yeah, baby, you don't even really take your clothes off. And you could even do stuff like a compressor. So, baby, I've been really throwing too much, but allow me till I fall. So, the limiter, you could add that. You could even add an EQ onto the whole song, because everything has to go to the master. Okay, since everything has to go to the master, it could be an EQ that goes from everything. You could add a EQ that's just like, whatever. I think that sounds pretty cool for the song if we do it all to max, put the mids down a bit, and just have a drop off right there and have that right there. I like how that sounds a lot. It sounds pretty cool. So, but there's too much high. It keeps doing that buzzing sound. You could fix that with the EQ if you want this for the song, or you could just turn the highs down to where it doesn't do that. All right, we got a cool little setup right here. You could add a stereo enhancer. Pretty much stereo separation right here. It's how much you're separated from the stereo, which is so the middle of the stereo is what everything's pretty much naturally on. You could be more to the left of the stereo or more to the right of the stereo, and that's speaking figuratively. It's if you sound more in the background or not, pretty much is how I would explain it. So you could have a phase. So if I wanted to put everything a little bit, off put, and put the volume up on the stereo enhancer, this is pretty much more gain but for the whole song. That doesn't sound good, so you'd want to keep it at, a minimum. I'd probably say middle. Even that doesn't sound good. Okay, maybe you really want to mess around with it to where it's not screwed up. Also, with the lows, it's pretty much the more bass you're going to get. So if you're going to do something like that, you're going to want to Okay, baby, you've been up on my brain too much. And pretty much make it lower. It's still at the max, but it's at a different hertz. Okay, baby, you've been up on my brain too much. Yeah, I didn't throw up, baby, you going up. Okay, baby, you've been on my brain too much. Better love me, I fall. Yeah, lately I've been throwing up too much. Watch me pop off, at the club I rock off. So, with all this combined, we have, you could do things to the master. It's pretty much how you master a song. If you want the whole song to be a little flangy, which is kind of like that like shaky vibe, but it's more electronic a little bit, you could have that. You could have whatever kind of flangy you want. You could screw with it. Okay, baby, you been up on my brain too much. Yeah, I didn't throw up, baby, you going up. Okay, baby, you been on my. I put flanger on a lot of songs because it sounds really nice, but with ad-libs, the last mixing tip that I have is you're going to want to, for your ad-libs, I'd stereo separate them a little bit with this little knob. Okay? This right here is for all your volume. You could do always a last EQ that everything goes through. Now, if you want this preset, I think it's kind of crappy. It was just for the demonstration of this video. But I will put it down in the description. That's not a problem to me. It would just be a simple download. You can drag and drop it into the thing. Only thing you're going to need to replace is the auto-tune that you have and the silencer. Unless you want to buy it, unless you want to get that silencer, it's free. Just look up that name right there. But if not, you're going to want to use a limiter or a Maximus. So, with that being said, yeah, I'll put it down below. Alright, so that's pretty much all the tips I have. That's kind of, I've only been, on FL, it's been like a year and a half now, but I know the basics of what I'm doing. Once again, you can find my music in the link tree down below, or it's voices_unknown on all platforms. So, with that being said, if you like this video and you want more on this, if you thought that my tips were crap, go ahead and say it in the comments. It's okay. Like, I want genuine feedback. Okay. This is just a beginner's guide on what to do and how to start mixing. With that being said, I'll catch y'all guys later.